Now, viewers, we are going to be speaking with filmmaker Vivek Agnihotri. He is one of our storytellers, one of those who did not buy into the propaganda, who refused to accept the narrative as it is being fed to us. He challenged what we were being taught in our history books, what we are in fact still being taught in some quarters to ignore. Viewers, it is subalterns like him who have resurrected what should be really the aspirational goals that define the idea of India going forward. And one of those ideals is justice. Remember what the Prime Minister said, viewers? He said that we must have pride in our heritage. We have spent too much time burying the truth, burying our history. And I want to today speak to Mr. Vivek Agnihotri, who was attacked, viewers, humiliated for telling us our own history. Now I want to ask you, Vivek ji, whether it is in Delhi or it is in the hallowed halls of Oxford where you went, you have faced resistance. Why is it that there is this conspiracy, Vivek Agnihotri, against the real truth in this country? Why don't they want us to reveal the real truth?
So, thank you for inviting me. First, I want to wish all the viewers of Times Now very, very happy Independence Day. I am a son of freedom fighters. Both my parents are freedom fighters. And my mother got married at 17, tab jaldi shaadi hoti thi. But within 12 days or 14 days, she was in the jail and she spent most of her youth in the jail, and my father. So for me, it's a great day. I'm a very proud Indian, Rahul. The problem is, the problem actually is fundamentally what Mr. Modi also said in his speech, is with the wrong portrayal of the history. There is no, I visit, you also visit, so many countries, wherever you go, people talk about their heritage, their culture, their history, everything with a sense of pride, a belonging, which you are not ashamed of, whatever. Even my parents were very, not rich people, they were middle class people, but I was very proud of my parents to introduce them to my friends. But what has happened of late since post-liberalization, I have noticed, this is my personal observation, that everything Indian people doubted. And these are professional spokespersons of certain groups with vested interests, whether it's a terror groups or whether these are Marxist groups or Naxal groups, but primarily anti-India and also Hindu-phobic groups. They professionally do so much of propaganda amongst the young people that today, if you want to speak truth, if you say India was genuinely the largest contributor in the global GDP, now you will find that everybody will start laughing, ridiculing you and humiliating you. Same thing happened with me when I opened the file of Shri Lal Bahadur Shastri's controversial death. It will remain controversial as long as there is no 100% proof what happened. Then even in case of Kashmir, when I spoke about Hindu genocide, I was boycotted, first of all, by my own industry, which I don't belong to anymore, which is so-called Bollywood, by the critics, by the political people, the political powers, by Congress, by Marxists, almost everybody. And you will find these are the same people who never condemn when Nupur Sharma's life is being threatened. Or when Salman Rushdie is being attacked, the same people keep quiet, they don't speak. The same film stars go for anti-CEA protests openly, but don't utter a word against threats on Nupur Sharma. This hypocrisy actually has engulfed the entire socio-political culture of the country. And therefore, people like me, and I see you also being attacked by the same people, anybody who is going to talk anything good about India or the true history of India is going to be attacked, humiliated, ridiculed, isolated, cancelled, deplatformed.
Well, they will try, but they won't succeed because, as they say, viewers, Satyamev Jayate. I want to ask you another important question. There was so much controversy over the Har Ghar Tiranga initiative that has been launched. Many people said that, no one should tell us when, how, where to fly the Tiranga. Do you believe that the Prime Minister was trying to sort of control us by asking us to unfurl the national flag on top of our homes? Was there some ulterior motive? Because many people said that, look, this is the stuff of dictators. How do you respond to this? Because today, and you made a whole movie on Kashmir, on the emotional gap between, Kashmir and India. You've tried to bridge it. And people always make the Tiranga a test, really, of our oneness. Why?
So see, if somebody who has no credibility, who has no track record of doing good work on the ground, if he calls for these kind of slogans, then this is propaganda. Then because it's got no substance. But it is coming from the same person who said Har Ghar Bijli and he delivered it. He said Har Ghar vaccine and he delivered it. I'm doing research on vaccine. I'm really surprised. I have not heard those spokespersons of anti-India lobby or whom I call urban naxals have spoken about vaccine. I think it's one of the greatest achievements of India, and it happened under the leadership of Mr. Narendra Modi. And he delivered. I know, I'm in the research, when my film will come, people will know how they have worked 24/7. Prime Minister's office was working 24/7 just to ensure that we get the fastest vaccine on this earth, which we did. Similarly, electricity, toilets, so much. I mean, look at the Swachh Abhiyan. Today, every child, you try and throw something outside your car, your child will stop you. Your child will stop you. Whether you're middle class, upper class, urban, or a smaller town, it doesn't matter. So somebody who's trying to change the collective attitudes of the country and delivering to people has a right to say this, that Har Ghar Tiranga. It is about India. It's the 75th Independence Day. It's the greatest day. People who order thousands of balloons and cakes and celebrate their birthdays like anything. People celebrate their cats' birthdays, their dogs' birthdays. And I'm saying people, I definitely mean the people who are opposing it. I know exactly the people who celebrate their cats and dogs' birthdays and they ask you to reshare their tweets and posts. The same people are objecting to this call for Har Ghar Tiranga. I'm saying, why Har Ghar Tiranga only in India? Har Tiranga should go everywhere. Wherever Indians are in the world, there should be Tiranga. I go to US, I see every house has their flag and nobody questions it. I think we should now rise above all these things and we should celebrate the greatness of our country. Why not?
So you're saying that this is not propaganda. This is basically reveling in what the tricolour stands for. Okay, this is an alternative perspective, viewers, that you are getting from Mr. Agnihotri, completely unleavened, pretty much against what some opposition leaders that you've just heard on this show have been saying. But I don't want to dwell on that. I want to expand this conversation very quickly and take you to Srinagar once again. The question that is often asked is there hasn't been enough emotional integration with India of Kashmir. When you were researching this movie, what are the obstacles to this? Who is the one that has created this sort of disconnect emotionally, if there is, or are you seeing a change?
Okay, yeah. I'll tell you what I have observed. Number one, what happened was, Rahul, that the entire younger generation of Kashmir was born after 1990. So they have not seen things with their own eyes. They've just heard. And because after 1990, the kind of atmosphere which was built in Kashmir, it was disconnected, it was isolated for a variety of reasons, and it was not connected to the mainland India, as we call it. And in the meantime, all these young boys and girls have started taking India's name as if it was a foreign country. My driver, who was driving me all the times in the shoot, he used to tell me, I bought these shoes when I went abroad. I said, where did you go? He said, Delhi. So, and he said it very innocently, without even realizing that it's not true. But the change which has come now is that they have realized and they have understood that they are integral part of India and there is no alternative. So when you cut down choices from somebody's life, then you mentally start getting prepared to lead that life happily and successfully. Second thing, the young boys and girls in Kashmir have understood that the economy is growing, lots of new projects are coming in, and they have to become part of this new economy of Kashmir. And that's why they look at this entire process very differently from regular politicians and all those kinds. These two changes I've seen. And the third thing is that today you can carry the tricolor. It's a very big change because earlier I have seen so many videos where Pakistan's flags are on every terrace, on every house. Cricket match, hockey match, any kind of thing, only Pakistan's flags everywhere. Now you are seeing those visuals. Whatever you want to call it, people can call it, but it's a very positive change to see the flag changing from Pakistan's flag to Indian flag. I think people are not realizing these two are major changes that psychologically Kashmiri youth understanding that this is the only way of life for them now. They have to learn to deal with it. It will take some time. It's a 30-year-old conditioning. It will take some time to change. Second thing, they have realized they have to play an active part in India's economy if they have to survive. And the third thing is, which is symbolism of displaying flag or becoming part of a march or national flags or watching patriotic plays and things like that. I think it's slowly becoming a commonplace in Kashmir. I think these three are very major changes.
But many people say, my last question to you, I know you don't want to take up more of your time, sir, but like the Prime Minister said that Ekta is a route to Akhandata, to Shresth Bharat. Many people say that Ekta cannot happen till there is a sense of inclusiveness. And you have heard the likes of Mr. Owaisi, etc., or even some opposition parties, and they believe that the government doesn't actually promote, even symbolically, the concept of inclusiveness. You just look at the cabinet, there are no prominent Muslim faces in cabinet, etc., etc. Tickets are not given to them. So how do you create a sense of nationhood?
See, in a day-to-day life, if you see, there is no other. I challenge anybody, all the intellectuals and anybody who wants, I'm willing to take this challenge. Show me any other country in the world which has so much of interactive diversity in one day. In India, every single day, you are interacting, means transaction is taking place between Hindus and Muslims, Muslims and Christians, or with Sikhs, or people with different language, different colors, different belief systems. Every single day, 130 crore people are interacting with each other, and we live happily. People don't like this. So as far as inclusiveness is concerned, a lot of people, I'll give you an example of my film. My film, The Kashmir Files, a lot of people say it's not inclusive. And because I don't want to talk about it, my film is being produced. The producer of my film is a Muslim, Sharik, who's the CEO of Z. All the actors in my film who are playing Hindu roles are all Muslims. My film is line produced by all Muslims. My lyrics are written by Muslims. My songs are sung by Muslims. Some of the most crucial people in the film are Muslims. Now, because people don't see these things on day-to-day basis, do you care, Rahul, who is a Muslim in your office, who's not? Nobody does. No. It's only when it comes to a political debate. And this debate has very sadly, because of the appeasement politics in India, secularism simply meant appeasement of minority, means only Muslims. Nobody appeases any other minority. I don't see them appeasing Jains or Parsis or Sikhs or anybody, means Muslims and Hindu bashing. This is what secularism became, and that's why people are so much against. We are the most inclusive society in the entire world. There is no dispute on that. And as far as the tolerance part, why don't you tolerate this and that? We are a society of acceptance. The problem comes, I'll tell you, since you've asked, the problem comes, who is not trying to, I want to include you in my life. But if you are resisting that inclusiveness, that including you, nobody can do anything. Now, Muslims have been living here for last 1,000 years. They are part of this society. And a lot of people do not even know that there was Muslims by religion they were Muslims, but culturally they have all been like Hindus. They've been celebrating all our festivals. They tie Rakhis and all those kind of things. So when you go to smaller towns, you'll find there's no difference. But the problem is the so-called activist Muslim lobby doesn't want to be included in the mainstream milieu of Bharat. And they keep resisting it. That's why you'll see when a Nupur Sharma is threatened, all the entire Muslim society keeps quiet. When somebody goes and beheads a Kanhaiya Lal, they keep quiet. When a fact checker actually creates a situation like Salman Rushdie's situation, where they create a situation that Nupur's life is under threat, then all of them come to support that fact checker. Now, these are the problem areas. This problem of inclusiveness.
So these are vested interests. These are vested interests that are trying to
answered only by the. It can be answered only by the Muslim community.
Okay.
I don't understand. Like, for example, Javed Akhtar Saab was very against Salman Rushdie writing that book. Okay, but I have never heard, and he says he's an atheist and a very balanced and logical and rational. He calls himself rationalist. Why didn't he utter a word when Nupur's life is threatened? Why didn't he utter a word when Udaipur, that tailor's killing, happened? Never. They never say if a Hindu is killed. Whereas Hindus come to support when a Muslim is killed wrongly. So it's the onus now is on the Muslim community to come forward and say, yes, you are welcoming us and we want to be part of this. They cannot afford to isolate themselves from the main fabric of India.
Okay, well, Mr. Agnihotri always speaks his mind. Thank you very much, Mr. Agnihotri, for speaking to us on this August occasion. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Rahul.